Hello and welcome. My name's Sissy and I'm Timothy's widow. So I saw something earlier tonight that I just wanted to comment on. A friend had posted that they received verification that their student loans were forgiven. Friends were congratulating and commenting on their post. Now, I know this individual worked very hard to get their education to better themselves, and I also know, like so many of us, finances are a real struggle. I also know many of us who worked our butts off to pay our student loans off, sometimes working multiple jobs, and sometimes even putting those loans on forbearance for a while or temporarily until financial situations improved. I was one of those people, and my husband and I did without a hell of a lot for years while I paid mine off. Every last penny. I also know of and have seen many grieving spouses comment. They are also having a very real financial struggle after the loss of their spouse. There are individuals out there who have lost their homes and vehicles. There are grieving spouses who have had to sell not only their homes or vehicles, but many personal possessions, sometimes ones that held cherished memories of their loved one. There are grieving spouses who are living in cars, bouncing from house to house of friends and family, and there are grieving spouses who suddenly found themselves having to work multiple jobs just to have a roof over their head and food for their little ones. After the loss of a loved one, many grieving spouses will suddenly find that their credit rating has been virtually destroyed. These are people who worked hard for many years to have good or even great credit scores. There are grieving spouses out there who have suddenly went from working one job, or maybe even no job, to working multiple jobs. These are people in their late 50s, early 60s, maybe even early 70s, who didn't have to work maybe for years, were under what we could call a state of retirement because their loved one brought home enough money to cover them financially. All of a sudden, they find themselves having to go out to work, return to work, or working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. And for many of them, they have no potential of ever bringing home anything more than what we would call an exchange check. That is, they have enough money to cover the roof over their head and food on the table, but that is it. There is no money left over for extra medical or what we could call therapy expenses. There's no money left over for the little benefits like getting your hair done or your nails, anything that would give you a little bit of stress relief from navigating the grief journey. There are grieving spouses who are physically and mentally exhausted, not only from navigating their grief journey, but also from this sudden and often unexpected financial stress that has been dumped on top of them, in addition to the loss of their loved one. There are many younger, and by younger, I mean under the age of 60. So there are many younger grieving spouses who suddenly find themselves having to make ends meet, all with just their income. The government sure as hell isn't stepping in to forgive them in any way financially. My question is, if the government can forgive student loans, and we're probably talking to the tune of millions of dollars, then why the heck can't they make it so that grieving spouses, no matter what age, can begin to draw their loved one's Social Security? No grieving spouse should ever have to live day to day waiting and hoping that they can live long enough to draw Social Security in the first place, all the while knowing that they'll only ever qualify for one but never both. If the surviving spouse's own Social Security benefit is higher than the survivor benefit they would receive based on their deceased spouse's record, they'll receive their own benefit amount. If the survivor benefit based on the deceased spouse work record is higher, they'll receive that amount instead of their own benefit. Generally, a surviving spouse can receive either their own Social Security benefits or their survivor benefits, whichever is higher, but never both simultaneously. Why? Are grieving spouses less important than those who racked up very large expenses to get higher education? Is it that we don't want those higher educated people to deal with too much mental stress? But it's okay for grieving spouses to have to deal with navigating the grief journey, financial anxiety, and juggle the complexities of secondary losses that also come with the loss of our loved ones. Do we want those higher educated people to keep and to have beautiful homes later on? But it's okay for grieving spouses to lose their beautiful home or to be forced to sell it? Do we want those higher educated people to be able to financially afford mental health care, gym memberships, salon and beauty sessions, wonderful vacations? While many grieving spouses now sit alone in a tiny apartment, no better than a shack, in a horrible neighborhood because they lost their beautiful 3-bedroom home with a lovely little backyard. So for all of you higher educated, younger than 50-something, and married people who suddenly benefited from having your student loans forgiven, consider looking at your life insurance policies. Even if you think you have enough, take this advice. Take some of that money and triple the amount of that life insurance. Because if the unthinkable and unexpected happens to you, you are going to need every penny of that life insurance. Unless you're the type of individual who thinks it's okay to go after a very rich old man with benefits, then do whatever the heck you want with that extra money. I've been Sissy, and I am wishing you much hope, light, and love. Until the next time, my friend, take care.